Welcome to the Self-Awareness Mechanic Podcast. We're here to help you tune into you, ignite your understanding, spark your awareness, and rev up your potential. Are you ready to transform your thinking? Let's jump in. Here is your host, Alan Shortall.
G'day everyone, welcome back on board. This is the Self-Awareness Mechanic Podcast. You're with Alan Shortall, former NRL referee and current coach of elite athletes. Yes, it has been a substantial period of time. Yes, you haven't heard from our voices recently. It's been a long period, and the reason for that has been our support of the NRL. We've done a little bit of work in supporting the officiating department, getting the guys and girls in that group on board and going as much as they possibly can be throughout the disrupted National Rugby League season. But we got there, 180 Rugby League games complete, and then 3 State of Origin games finalised as well too. And probably one of the most remarkable parts of 2020, the COVID period, will be the fact that our 3rd State of Origin that happened in Brisbane reached a worldwide record for the COVID period of just under 50,000 spectators in that stadium in Brisbane, which I think is a fantastic effort for the management, the staff, the people who got everything going, the players, the referees, everybody on board to make sure that was an achievement. So well done. And like I said, we were a small part of that, and that's part of the reason why you haven't heard from us recently. However, here we go today, a bonus episode. Recently, we were lucky enough to be asked to do an interview on local radio station SEN 1170 AM. A friend of the podcast, Jimmy Smith, wanted to get us on board and talk about side hustles, and that was where the Self-Awareness Mechanic started from, was a little side hustle going on, and now it's where it is today, growing and becoming bigger as each day goes on. So for you today, the interview we did on 1170 SEN AM, if you haven't heard it, it goes for about 10 minutes. Jimmy Smith in the afternoon between 12 and 3 and 6 and 7 if you're in Sydney or even across the world on your local TuneIn radio app. You're more than welcome to listen in to him. He's a very good friend of the podcast. So please listen in. It gives you a bit of perspective on what we do here at the Self-Awareness Mechanic and definitely what you should be considering and jumping into. Enjoy, and we'll speak to you soon.
There's a new Sydney home ground for sporting fans, the Sporting Globe Bar and Grill with 4 Pines, where beer meets sport. Taste the lineup, defeat your hunger, watch every game live and loud. Open now on King Street Wharf, sportingglobe.com.au.
Right, Friday we do our side hustle. It's all been motivated by my side hustle, which is coconut water, organic, certified, of course, mycocomagic.com. Today we're going to speak with a man who refereed 244 games in the National Rugby League. He's now the Self-Awareness Mechanic. I feel more calm just in saying that. He's on the line, Alan Shortall. G'day, Al.
G'day, Jimmy. How are you going today?
Yeah, I'm really well, mate. Thanks for being on the show today and telling us about your side hustle, which I think maybe is going so well that it might very well be your main hustle.
It's certainly going really well, Jimmy. We've been pushing into a number of different spaces and predominantly around some school scenarios, but we're always looking for the best opportunities, and we've also done to corporates and also a little bit of athlete development. And I was only speaking to someone today potentially at surf lifesaving, which could be something that we'll push into, but plenty of opportunities out there for us to grow. Yeah,
that's fair. Before we get to Self-Awareness Mechanic and exactly what it is, let's go back to your NRL career. And I'd imagine, Al, of all the positions you could take up when it comes to pressure, there's no more pressure cooker atmosphere than in the middle of an NRL game. How did you cope with that during the course of your career?
Oh, look, it was a really lovable and enjoyable time. Like I knew from an early age that when I picked up the whistle that I wanted to take it as far as I possibly could. But as we're well aware with referees, we're not the most popular people at the best of times, and that brings its own pressure. But it also brings its own challenges as well too, because we were full time, and what that brings with it is performance. You're measured every week.
Yeah.
The challenge of not getting the appointments that you're probably wanting to get. So it does bring some of those challenges, as much as I did love that. And in dealing with those things, that's where the self-awareness bit came in, was really focusing on what I did well, what are the other aspects, particularly around leadership and those type of scenarios that I could really delve into and actually find what I was great at so I could get the best out of myself.
Yeah, it's a very thoughtful approach to it. I would imagine that, yes, the measurables are very important, Al, but sometimes it's the immeasurables that are even more important, that perhaps is where you're going now with the self-awareness mechanic.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you think about things, and one example comes to mind around emotional intelligence. And in my early parts of my career, you were pushing really hard, and sometimes you get a little bit frustrated with your position, and that may flow over into your performance. So that type of thing, if I point to one particular thing, is that emotional intelligence aspect is a really important thing, because it actually helps with understanding how you respond to players, how you respond to your teammates, how do you respond to people individually as well too, and having an understanding of how those emotional responses actually come up will actually plays into better performance and increasing your chances of being perceived as a better referee or a better person in whatever you're seeking to achieve.
Yeah. Well, we think of teams. Are the referees a team?
100%, mate. Yeah, definitely throughout my career. We actually break into small teams. So obviously you go into a particular game. So we're one big team and we work together as a group to achieve the set goal of performing the best we can each week. And then you obviously break into your small teams as well to achieve the best performance for the game as you can.
I'll get your opinion on this. Probably no one better placed that I've asked about it. One referee that has been, wasn't trialled, it was implemented in 2020. Are you a fan?
Well, it seems to work well. So, and obviously the guys that are in the NRL who made those decisions are looking at it and evaluating whether that works or not. So I'm sure they'll make that decision and evaluate how it works. But it seemed to go off okay from what I could see.
Yeah. Is it additional pressure given it is one as opposed to the two?
Oh, look, you know what? That's something that we certainly need to consider. But you know what? Taking those sort of challenges as they come are what referees prepare for as full-time officials. They actually train for that type of stuff. They adapt as they need to. So I think the guys who are there at the moment have done a great job adapting to whatever's thrown in front of them.
Yeah, yeah. Of the 244 games, was there one in particular that stands out?
Yeah, there is one particularly. I refereed a Monday night game, if it goes all the way back to 2010. I was probably about 25 games into my refereeing career, and it was Melbourne and Manly on a Monday night, and we all know what the Melbourne-Manly games are like. They're tough, and I felt like that was my actual baptism of fire. Although if you remember back, if people do remember back, my first game as a one ref was Penrith and the Cowboys, where going into Golden Point and Luke O'Donnell, I had to get sent off on that game. But the Melbourne-Manly game was a really, really tough game. The Melbourne guys challenged me all night. They knew I was a rookie ref, and they really tried hard. And I walked off the game basically spent. I was physically done, and but that was really my test, and I came through that game, and it was one that I remember vividly.
April 19th, 2010, 16-18, Manly got the result against the Melbourne Storm down there in Melbourne. So, yeah, great memories. Hey, when did you start thinking the self-awareness mechanic and your work within that could actually start to build itself into its own business?
It was probably about 12 months ago. I transitioned out of refereeing into a development role within the NRL.
Yep.
And my research into some of the programs that I need to develop pushed me into this type of space. And it had been something I'd been thinking about for a long period of time prior to that, even across my career. What are some of those spaces that you need to look for? And it just morphed into something. And obviously over the COVID period, there's a challenge around that. You know, we obviously had our challenges at the NRL, and
yep.
It literally sort of stood up, and I went, okay, well, let's actually put this into place. Started things like a podcast, a website, and started to branch out into what opportunities I could take on, and that was speaking to schools and a couple of corporates and that type of stuff. So from that perspective, it grew a little bit further, and for me, it's starting to, as you say, come into a really good business going along and really pushing out there.
Yeah, well, you've done your MBA, a bachelor's degree in health science and business, sports management, as well as a graduate diploma in education. All right, if I'm listening in the car or at home at the moment on the app somewhere and I think, oh, okay, this is interesting, how do people get in contact with you?
Yeah, mate, we've got a Self-Awareness Mechanic website. So if you go to the selfawarenessmechanic.com, or you can look up the Self-Awareness Mechanic on any of your Google, Bing, or search engines. That'll automatically come up. Jump on there. There's plenty of information there. You can actually put in your details. My contact details are there, and also my phone number. So very happy for people to contact us for whatever situation you're looking for, whether it's corporate, whether it's a school scenario. Like we said, we pushed into some school spaces. Or as I said, it might be an athlete development type scenario where you're more than welcome to contact us. So definitely the website, that's where the starting point is.
Yeah, well, you've got great experience from elite performance, clearly done your training as well, and obviously you're very passionate about it, Al, so I can see only success for you in this one. Thanks very much for being on 1170 SEN, mate.
Appreciate the opportunity, Jimmy, and as I said, I love the show. You're going really well at it. I listen every day with the kids in the car, so it's fantastic.
Oh, they'll hate you for it. But anyway, Al, they'll report you to Docs in a minute on that one. Hey, just before we let you go, we're asking everyone. We'll ask you as well. Who would you like to just see run around one last time?
Mate, I was a real big fan of Alan Border. I'm a left-hander. Now, my cricketing expertise wasn't that great. I played first 11 for St Pat's Stratford, so I did okay, but I loved Alan Border, left-hander, born in July, mate. He was the one I'd love to see go out again. And he's the one I'd love to see out there today at the SCG. Yeah,
how tough was AB? I think underappreciated in Australian cricket what he did during some very tough times. Great to chat, Al.
Thanks a lot, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
There he is, Alan Shortall, former NRL referee, doing great things with the selfawarenessmechanic.com.au.
Thanks for listening in. That was us on 1170 SEN in Sydney, talking to Jimmy Smith. He's on from 12 till 3 and 6 till 7 on SEN Radio 1170 on your AM dial. However, if you would like to listen to him, he's also on the TuneIn app. I'm sure if you look online and you're listening in for him, I'm sure he would love as many listeners as he possibly can be. Thank you for listening to the Self-Awareness Mechanic interview with him. It gives you a little bit more perspective about who we are and what we are all about. So I hope you got a little bit more information about that. We're always looking, as we said, to push into as many spaces as we possibly can, whether that be a corporate space. If you're getting your team back together post the COVID period, contact us. We're more than happy to build into team building situations or other opportunities there. It might be that you're in athlete development as you get your teams back together in a more professional manner as COVID restrictions disappear. Please contact us. We're more than happy to help you. And as we've spoken about, we have pushed into some school spaces, a number of schools that have contacted us and we've spoken to and delivered to, particularly around Life Ready. But in general, whatever subject you're looking for, go to our website, click on the schools tab. There's a list of areas there that we can push into for you in your planning as you go into 2021. So please contact us, selfawarenessmechanic.com. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, at the Self-Awareness Mechanic. We're also on LinkedIn as well too, so go and find us over there. And as we said, the website there is your best place to find a bit of information and also to put your contact details in. We've had plenty of people contact us via the website looking for those opportunities. So opportunity there in the pop-up, or you can also leave your details at the Contact Us page as well too. Once again, thanks for tuning in to the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the bonus episode and we look forward to talking to you very shortly. We're pushing back into the podcast space, so look out for some future episodes over the coming weeks. And as always, looking for those opportunities to tune into you, spark your awareness, ignite your understanding, and rev up your potential.